So, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to our regular Thursday session. So, I thought maybe today I speak about some kind of understanding. So, models help, right? Models help us understand things, models help us navigate life, and models help us live a life in which we are not stressful about things that don't matter. Okay? So, let's look at maybe a number of things. The first thing is we need to look at this very fundamental question, which is when you ask yourself, who are you? What, where do you end up? Where do you end up? And part of us will say that, in fact, the majority of us will say, well, I have a pretty good definition of who I am. You know, I have my name, I have my gender, and I have my religion, and I have my ancestry, and I know my family. So I can place myself within this network, and this is who I am. And at one level, that is absolutely fine. And that needs to be there because as human beings, we are dependent on the other. So when we're born without this identity. And then through action, through education, through language, through parenting, through schooling, through religion, all the authority stuff creates this image of you. So when you're a child, you're still kind of connected with yourself and you're still constructing your image. Adolescence, image becomes a little bit more solidified, but very challenging because there are so many biological changes going on. As we get into our 20s and 30s, the image becomes a little bit more consolidated, a little bit more solidified, and we reflect this image with one another through attributes, through qualities that this image has. You say, well, you know, I'm really kind, I'm always there for my friends, I'm a good listener, um, I don't get too stressy, I'm a good parent or a bad parent, whatever the attributes you add to yourself to describe yourself, all of those have been a product of what's been expected around you and what is considered to be normal, um, in line with the general worldview, the cultural worldview, and not outside this. So it's within a boundary. And as long as you're within the boundary, all is good. However, once you begin to look outside the boundary, say, for example, religion, you think, oh, you know what? I think I'll try, you know, from becoming from a Catholic, I'll become, let's say, Senator O'Connor's thing. I'll become a Muslim or a Buddhist or whatever it is. And we go outside that boundary, and then those in the boundary will either ostracize you, either insult you, assault you, but you will be slightly distant from the general worldview. Now, what this does is it allows us to comply, right? It allows us to comply to certain norms. So, for example, one norm is, and I remember this really well, many years ago, many years ago, I went for an interview in Leicester in a hotel for a pharmaceutical company. And the guy said to me, he goes, I don't know, interviewed so many people. You're the candidate, but you got to do something. And I said, what's that? He said, get rid of the hat and remove your beard, and you can have the job, right? And so this is like mid 80s. Yeah, maybe a little bit later than that. And if you look at that, that was because it did not fit the cultural norm. Obviously, I didn't do that, I didn't get the job, and life took me somewhere else. Um, but having said that, it demonstrates clearly cultural norms, and if you don't fit in those cultural norms, you're kind of excluded. Racism works on this, gender discrimination, disabilities, um, anything can be used to take you out of the norm. Now, the problem here is that because you've constructed, and I've constructed this identity because of everyone's been conditioning us, and that's all this identity is. It's just a collection of thoughts. That's what you think you are, who you are, just the name, etc., all collection of thoughts. The moment it's poked, you feel stress, you feel suffering. The basis of suffering is when your identity, your false sense of self, your egoic identity is in any way threatened. Now, generally, life is good and he only gets threatened by minor things, right? Someone divorcing you, someone leaving you, someone hurting you. You go through these changes, these moments where you have that identity gets shaken a little bit. It gets shaken a bit deeper when someone dies. It becomes a little bit more serious. So that identity that we have been carrying and we think life is good, and as long as life is good, that identity works. But the moment we come across a crisis, that identity begins to wobble, and most of the time it falls. Now, this takes us a little bit deeper, and we realize the identity that we are carrying is actually based on some emotional, what's the word I would use? Emotional content. So, for example, someone who has a external persona of always being wanting to be right, always having the last word, always having that kind of attitude towards any relationship, deep down there's a level of insecurity, right? Because that's what it needs to be done. People who feel powerless in their homes become powerful in political office, right? So it's always this process. Whatever you are exerting, expressing out, is a reaction to something that's within a little bit deeper. So when we come across a crisis of a sort, then the first identity shakes. That's the first one to go. And most of us become quite wobbly at that stage and go to the doctors and say, "Can I have some tablets because I am feeling well?" But this is the identity, the psychophysiology. When the psychology shifts, the physiology shifts. So when your mental space, your identity is threatened, you go into a flight response system, that's going to give malfunction and you're going to become ill. There's just no two ways about it. That's how it works. Simple. The next thing, that once you kind of overcome the first layer of your egoic self, you get to a little bit deeper, and this is where you look at your insecurities. Again, nothing more than thoughts. So if you were at school or young and you were made to feel foolish, then maybe you will respond to that naturally to ensure that you are not put in that place again, and therefore you equip yourself to create this identity, which is therefore a more knowledgeable, more superior to what you used to think, and so on and so forth. But this too is also just a false part of you. What we all have to go through this. No one will escape this. And there are two choices. One choice is to do it while you're live, life is good, and you're able to do it. The other is when life is transitioning from this state to whatever the next state is, then everything is stripped, right? So this egoic self, whether it's the first layer or the second layer, will be stripped. Nothing. This is the fundamental teachings when they say you come alone and you go alone. Not that and if you critically look at it, and you will see that's exactly the way it is. You come alone, meaning you come without an ego. And you leave, your ego will be stripped. Now, better to begin to recognize that, yes, we have these identities. We go beyond these identities through meditation and stuff like this, where we become a little bit more present to a space without these two identities. And in doing that, we become more mindful of what identity we have and how we can modify that identity to cultivate the best possible qualities of what it means to be human, what it means to be alive, not what how other people want to see you, not how society accepts you or doesn't. It's about what you are, who you are. Self-recognition, number one, self-knowing, knowing yourself. Second step is when you find what you find in there, insecurities, this, that, and the other, acceptance. It is you. Got to integrate the two. Once you integrate the two, then you find that there is new space to create something that's a little bit more whole. It is still your identity. It ain't you. It is an identity, a mask, an egoic sense of self that you will use in life, knowing when the time comes, I can let go of it. The problem arises when you believe the ego is all that you are. And as things are being stripped away from it, challenged, you begin to suffer within yourself. Hence, meditation is considered to be the route to peace, not because it takes you to this space of silence, etc., because it shows you what you're not, meaning your mental constructs. So, all that you're thinking, all that you feel that you are, all the past, everything, constructs of thoughts. Thoughts can change, and because they can change, and you've been the same you from the moment you were born, while your identity has kept evolving. So you realize that which changes cannot be me, and through meditation, we come and sit with that which does not change. Okay, that's enough for today, I think. So we will, give me the, no. Okay, so we'll go through a meditation again. And so we will use this construct as we approach our meditation today. So the construct of the identity, yeah? And your identity is constructed from the physical to the mental and even your emotional. So you may identify as, you know what, I'm in a bad mood today. Yeah. No, there's a mood that is not savory, but you yourself are not that. It is a phase. It is um, um, a transition of climate change, call it that, within yourself, your own internal climate. It changes. And we get stuck to it. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to do this. Life has to be different. So this process allows us to go through that beyond that kind of grasping, what the Buddhists call grasping, or what in Eastern tradition is called trishna, craving, grasping, holding. So eyes are closed, mouth is closed, and your back is upright and straight. Move your focus towards your shoulders and just pull them back a little bit. And then allowing your chin to be tucked in. Not too much, just enough to make sure that the neck, the head, and the spine are as aligned as you can get it. But the posture has to be comfortable, right? Not trying to prove anything to anything. So comfortable, and then just have a quick scan of the posture and to notice if there's any discomfort anywhere. And to help you scan the body, so we're looking at the physical space at the moment. Imagine a hula hoop above your head, and as this hoop comes down, it begins to highlight any sensation that is dominant. So while you can sense your body, your physical space, you will find that there are some areas which have a dominant sensation. And this could be a pain, could be a sense of feeling tight, pressure, an itch. So just allow your awareness to identify anything that's dominant. And all you need to do is just locate it. We don't need to change it. We don't need to discuss it. We don't need to judge it. Just say, recognize the sensation. On your next breath in, you're going to bring your focus now to the seat that you're on. And we'll begin first with allowing ourselves to be held, to be supported, and to locate ourselves. Allow ourselves to move beyond our own internal dialogue. So notice that the ground beneath you holds you. And the environment around you, the air temperature keeps you warm, keeps you cold, and you can't be anywhere else. Your entire experience is based on where you are. And at this moment, you can't be anywhere else. And the breath that you're breathing right now can only be drawn from the air that's in front of you. Notice that the breath comes in and the breath goes out. You don't retain anything. And right this moment, in the moment of now, everything else exists with you. Every blade of grass, every fish in the ocean, every insect, every butterfly, every tree, every grain of sand, every star, this universe, this moment. All of that share this moment with you, moving beyond the self. And all this that is sharing this moment with you is continuously changing, a happening, a movement, evolving. Bringing your focus now to the sensations in your body, which makes contact with the chair or the seat you're on. From those sensations, we draw our focus upwards, gently becoming aware of our hips. A moment to connect with the body itself, that which keeps you going, without which you cannot do the meditation itself. From your hips, you move down towards your thighs, noticing anything that may be dominant. Pain, ache, tightness. From your knees, you move down, scanning the back of your legs, scanning your shin, and then resting at your ankles. From your ankles, allow your awareness to become aware of your feet, the front of your feet, and the heel. And then gently moving your awareness to the soles of your feet. Next breath in, bring your focus back to the seat you're on. Notice your back is straight and upright. Then we're going to gently move our focus from our lower back, scanning, scanning, scanning to the middle back. And this simple scanning process allows us to be embodied, to be present to ourselves, not just in the head. And then moving our focus from our middle back up towards our shoulders blades. And then gently coming to your shoulders. Once at our shoulders, see if you can soften them a bit. And then gently moving our focus from the shoulders towards our elbows. From our elbows to our wrists. Notice the palms of your hands. Notice the fingers. And then gently moving your focus towards your eyes. Notice the darkness. Becoming aware of the awareness itself. And this awareness is basically what you are. Beyond the thoughts, beyond the body. Silent, knowing stillness. And then as you breathe out, allow your eyes to soften. Next breath in, bringing your focus towards your mouth. Notice your lips first. Scanning your top lip, your lower lip, and then moving your focus within your mouth. Notice the sensations present within the mouth itself. Sensations on the roof of your mouth. Sensations on the inside cheeks. Then bringing your focus to your tongue. Allow your focus to scan the tongue from the back all the way to the front. Allowing your tongue to soften. Moving your focus to your jaw, allowing your jaw to soften. Next breath out, allow your face to soften. And on your next breath in, you become aware of the body as best as you can. And once again, just scanning the top all the way to the bottom, identifying anything that's dominant. No commentary, no judgment, no labeling. Next breath in, bringing your focus within yourself, to your inner space. And now we move from the physical body to the subtle body, moving towards your thoughts, your mental space. Do you feel alert or do you feel drowsy? Are you able to focus or do you feel you're distracted? And then bringing your focus to your chest. And we begin to notice the movement of the chest in relation with the breath. Breath comes in, chest expands. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. Your focus just on your chest, aware of the movement. Notice the changes around your ribs, the subtle sensations as the breath comes in and the breath goes out. And now we're going to move our focus a bit deeper into ourselves, moving to our very heart, holding your focus there as best as you can. And as you hold your focus there, notice how you're feeling right now, right this moment. Do you feel settled, peaceful, tranquil? Do you feel unsettled, uncomfortable, agitated? On your next breath out, opening your awareness to all the sounds around you, allowing our awareness to be open to any sound, any noise, without looking for anything, just listening. Listening. Next breath in. Gently bring your focus just beneath your nose and begin to notice the movement of your breath. Notice the in-breath as it moves in. Notice the out-breath as it moves out. Allowing the breath to breathe by itself. No need to engage with it. Simply watching it. Notice the start, middle, end of your in-breath. Noticing the start, middle, end of your out-breath as best as you can. Allowing yourself to get deeper into the moment. Notice when the in-breath stops, there's a little gap before the out-breath begins. And the same for the out-breath. When it stops, there's a little gap before the in-breath begins. See if you can notice that. Begin to follow your out-breath all the way till the end. Notice when it stops. When it completely finishes, there's a little gap before the in-breath begins. See if you can notice that. Allowing the breath to breathe by itself. Following the out-breath. Allowing the body to relax a little bit further. Moving you deeper and deeper into the moment of now. Following your breath all the way up. Notice how the breath feels now. Does it feel light or does it feel heavy? Does the breath feel long or does it feel short? Now bringing your focus to the sound of your breath as best as you can. Listening to the in-breath, listening to the out-breath as best as you can. Simply listening to your breath can allow you to sit in meditation for as long as you want. Actively listening. On your next breath out, once again, we just open our awareness to all the other sounds around us while still listening to the sound of our breath. Simply listening, allowing each bell to guide us deeper into the silence. Notice the quality of your experience. There is no name there, no form, no fear, no hate, timeless, ageless, simply presence. When you're ready, gently bring your focus just beneath your nose, sitting with your breath in silence. On your next breath out, expanding your awareness to include your whole body as best as you can. Notice if there's any discomfort in the body. Moving your focus to your seat. Sensations in your body, where the seat makes contact, and then gently moving your focus up towards your hips, moving down towards your thighs, scanning your thighs. Again, looking for anything that's dominant. From our knees, we move down towards our ankles. Awareness of our feet. And then bringing your focus to the soles of your feet. Just hold your awareness there for a little bit longer, allowing ourselves to ground ourselves. Bringing your focus back to the chair, the seat. Notice your back is straight and upright. Shoulders, arms, hands comfortable. Your eyes are still closed, your mouth is still closed, and your face is relaxed. Bringing your focus to your breath again. And now, as you breathe in, you can sense your body. As you breathe out, you sense your body. Breathing in, I sense my body. Breathing out, I sense my body. And when you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw some slow, deep breaths in, and in your own good time, gently open your eyes. Take your time.